Walker with the right hand gets all the way to Root. And slams it home.
We got a bunch of dogs on this side. We're willing to fight for 40 minutes.
And the Owls will hold on and win the Little East Conference Championship.
Oh boy, what a game!
Welcome to Owls Overtime. It's Friday, March 15th, and I'm your host, Tom Rogers. It's the show where we talk everything KSC sports. Today's guest is a veteran presence from the men's soccer team. He is a glue guy that defines grit. He is a very special guest as he is the first student athlete I've had on the show, Reed Rampinelli. Reed sat down with me to recap the 2023 season and previews what's to come this year for the soccer team, so stay tuned for that. But first, let's recap what happened this week for all the Owls teams. Let's start with baseball. The Owls split a doubleheader against St. Joseph's down in Long Island. Otis Follett and George Young hit their first career home runs, where the Owls combined for 20 runs over that weekend. Tommy Ehlers now leads the LEC in doubles and is second in RBIs with 12. Camden Thomas has a 3.21 ERA and is 2-0 in his starts. Now with a 4-5 record, the Owls could improve if they continue to start Thomas. He's been exceptional in his rookie year. Women's lacrosse took their first L in an 18-14 defeat at the hands of Smith. It was a historic start to the season with the 4-0 start. Tess Brown had 4 goals and 4 assists in the loss. She now leads the Owls in points with 21 goals and 11 assists. After picking up their first win last Friday, the men's lacrosse team dropped another close one, 8-6 to Bates. Jack Ansart continued to produce for the Owls as he leads the team with 14 goals. Softball started their season yesterday with a 4-3 loss to MUW. Catcher Elise Picard went 2 for 3 and drove in 2 runs. All the esports teams qualified for playoffs in their inaugural season, with dates still to be determined. That wraps up this week. Now let's talk some soccer with Reed Rampinelli. All right, I am now joined on Owls Overtime with a very special guest, historic in fact, the very first student athlete on the show, now joining me, member of the men's soccer team, Reed Rampinelli. Reed, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. We've been talking about doing this for a while, so honestly, glad we both had times to find in our schedule to do this. So.
Yeah, it's a little overdue. I haven't had a student athlete, haven't had you like we were talking about. Well, like anyone that comes on for the first time, I want to get that road to Keene State story. What brought you here, whether that's the longer version or shorter version. What has brought you to being a soccer player at Keene State College?
Yeah, so my parents wanted me to be an athlete, and doing research. I'm really interested in like film and, video production and broadcasting and all that. So pretty much me and my parents doing research on places we'd like to be, being born in Michigan, just kind of being a northern kid. I wouldn't mind going back, visiting all 4 seasons. I was looking, like the pretty much 2 main schools I had were Fitchburg State and Keene State here. So I did both tours of the film department, meeting both coaching staffs, and this was way before we had Coach Schmidt, and because Rick Scott was still the head coach here, so he brought me in for like recruiting and all that. And yeah, I just really fell in love with like the campus and everything. Met a lot of nice people in the film department. I just knew this would be the place to be for me.
Well, another cool thing about having you on is that soccer happens in the fall. I started this podcast in January, so I never got to talk about soccer. I'd like to recap the season a little. It was kind of interesting on paper. You guys improved your record quite a bit. You went from a 6 seed last year, 2 seed. You even beat the number 1 seed UMass Boston in the regular season. So overall, I'm wondering, would you consider it a successful year, or were there any shortcomings?
I mean, for sure, like definitely, like you said before, like, being the 6th seed last season, now we just coming up into getting, first round bye in the LEC tournament. We definitely think there's definitely stuff to improve on for sure. Like we want to go win the conference, and we think we're one of the big dogs in the conference now. So I think there's a lot to improve on, and just really all the players bought in this season into what Coach Schmidt has been trying to do for us, and I think next season I think we can win it all. I really do.
Well, I like to hear that, buddy. Maybe you could provide a little more insight on this. Like I said, you guys beat number 1 seed UMass Boston in the regular season. The team that goes on to beat UMass Boston in the championship was number 3, WestCon, who you ultimately lost to in the playoffs. You tied them in the regular season, you lost in the playoffs. Why were you able to beat UMass Boston but not WestCon?
WestCon, really big physical team, great on the ball. Like They're a really good team, a lot of good players. UMass Boston, we came down with a few injuries, so we had a lot of players come in clutch, and we just had a lot of big fight. And yeah, WestConn's a really good team, and they always will be whenever we play them. And it's a big physical game, and I just really think that next season I think we come in big focus like we did last time. I really do think we could be the number 1 seed and beat UMass Boston, beat WestConn, hopefully try to host the tournament again, and yeah.
Yeah, that's the energy I obviously do want to focus on, so I don't want to dwell on it too much. But do you think if we ended up beating WestConn, we go to the championship, do you think we beat UMass Boston again?
I know it would be a difficult game. It's just, we beat them 2-1 in the regular season. We had a lot of fight. I really do think we would have went down to Boston and won just because, I feel like, all the boys would be really motivated and, everyone just, being around each other, like a family mindset that we have. I really do think we would have won going down there.
So, you know me, football is like my main sport. We don't have that here at Keene State, but I'm also a big basketball guy. So it's no surprise that I do spend more time paying attention to the basketball program than anything else at Keene State. And it's also no secret that WestConn has been the closest thing to a thorn in our side for the basketball team, if you could even call it that, but they are the closest thing to our LEC rival. Is that sort of the case with the soccer programs at WestConn and Keene State? Do you guys sort of have that similar tension?
I would definitely say so, just because I feel like the games that we had, have been really close. Like, besides the 6-0 game last season that we had, I've just, we went down there to Danbury last season. We tied 0-0, and I feel like there's just a lot of, I don't want to say bad blood, but whenever we get around, it's gonna we're gonna be really physical and all that, and it's really good, 2 really good teams, and I feel like we're gonna be fighting for the number 1 seed next season. They come to here next for my senior season. So I think for sure that's going to be one of the big games we got to picture.
You mentioned senior season. Are you going to be here 5th year or no?
I probably do not plan on it just because I think I'm going to graduate in 2025 for my senior year. But one more season of soccer that I'm really excited about. So yeah.
Well, let's go get it, buddy. We mentioned the change in 1 season. You go from 6 seed to 2 seed. What sort of happened that allowed that so much improvement to happen?
I feel like we all really came in to the preseason, really fit. I feel like my last season when we were the 6th seed, I feel like we came in kind of flat and we didn't really have that focus from the summer, continued training and all that. And then following up to this season, we all really came in fit, doing really well in our fitness tests that we all had, keeping up strength and conditioning, all that. We just really bought into the program that we needed to, and I feel like it improved a lot going from the 6, barely just getting into the tournament now to getting a first-round bye, hosting WestConn in the semifinal.
Seems like the boys just started taking things a little more seriously, ramping it up.
No, for sure. I mean, we all knew what we had to do. We kept calling, texting each other, weekly Zoom calls, all that fun stuff. People from around the Northeast meeting up to do their fitness tests that we had to do once a week, twice a week. We all just came in, big fight, and we knew what we had to do, and I feel like it showed a lot. So I feel like if we do it again this season, why can't we be the number 1 seed?
Well, you gave a little bit of insight there. It's something I've heard Jeff Hunter talk about with the basketball team and Nikki Knapp's talk about with the basketball team, whether it's in season or out of season. The group is real tight-knit. What's the morale of the team like both in season and out of season? Are you guys just constantly communicating like you were just talking about, putting in the work together on the field, in the gym?
Yeah, we have, between just getting food at the dining commons, after practice, before practice, early lifts that we have 6:30 to 7:30 in the mornings on some days. We're always getting food, watching soccer games at, one of our houses that we have off campus. Just being around each other, it kind of helps. Not everything's just about soccer, really. It's just, we're student athletes, helping each other with classes, going to the library to study. I know we've all done that a few times before where someone needs help, go to the library with them for a few hours, do our homework, help them out. And then, just, kind of like I said earlier, watching soccer games together, kind of just, we all like different teams. So, a little bit of trash talk in there a few times.
There you go, maybe.
I know for sure we've done that, just like any other team would. But we're always around each other. It's always good times. It's not always serious, but I feel like whenever we can joke around, we always get a few jokes around in there too.
So what's Reed Rampinelli's role on this soccer team, whether that's on the field, in the locker room, off the field, what have you?
I would say I'm not one of like the big players on the team that plays a lot. Like I have a few games played, great. I feel like I'm a big leader going into my senior season. Being a junior this year, kind of helping out the freshmen, get used to being a student athlete, going to classes, waking up early. Friday mornings, 6 a.m. practice. Like it's a little difficult sometimes when you're not used to that. But like just giving them a call early, be like, hey, like let's go. We got practice in 20 minutes. Like get here, don't be late. Being a leader for sure. Sometimes pulling off a few pranks or two inside the locker room. Moving cleats around, moving stuff around. Funny stuff. But when it's time to be serious, really taking that leadership role and taking it seriously.
Love to hear it. I mean, we worked in TV production. We still work in TV production. It's been probably 3 years now.
I was about to say it's been
like 3 years now.
2.5 for sure, but
At
probably
least.
3.
And now we work on our own show. We can talk about that a little later.
Yeah.
If you're anything like what you're like in TV production, you're that glue guy. You bring that energy that, really keeps the morale up, and I love to see that and hear that that's translating to the soccer team. You mentioned former coach Rick Scott. He recruited you. Mm-hmm. You currently now have, is it 2 years now that Coach Matt Schmidt has been under the helm?
This has just been our second season with him as our head coach.
So what sort of changes have there been, whether that's, analytically game plan type stuff or just personality-wise?
Personality-wise, they've both been great coaches for me, like, really helping me. Rick brought me in to, he believed in me for being a college soccer player. He thought I'd be the right guy for the program. Being far away, being recruited. And then, Schmidt comes in, great morale, like great coach guy. No really complaints about any coach. It's, whenever he needs to be hard on us, he'll be hard. Whenever we need, next play mentality, he'll talk to us, pull us off to the side of practice, be like, hey, like, you're good enough for this. Like, just really stay locked in, stay focused. We need that. And then whenever we need him to be hard on us, he'll be hard on us. Like if we need a talking to, like, we're not playing our best, it's like, hey, like, you guys, I know you guys can do better than this. Like we've seen it before at practice. We have an off day at practice. He'll be like, yeah, like you're good. Like don't worry about it. Next practice is tomorrow. Like start bringing that intensity in.
Coach Schmidt's definitely done a great job, as we mentioned. Year 1, 6 seed, brink of not even making the playoffs. Year 2, 2nd seed. Going back to sort of the team chemistry question, obviously at Keene State we have a women's soccer program. Are there any overlaps between the team? Are you guys ever doing practices together, or are you attending their games?
Yeah. So I do some of the broadcasting for women's soccer. So I feel like
As do I.
Whenever I can, we had a few games together, had a few practices. But our practice schedule is pretty much the same. 4 to 5:30. If it's driving together to practice, just getting there early, kicking a ball around or two. I feel like we have great chemistry between the two teams. Grabbing food, any of that. Just pretty much talking. Pretty much we have great chemistry together. They come to our games, but it's kind of hard sometimes for LEC games just because if we're here, they're away, so it's kind of difficult to go to that. But whenever we can get a non-conference game in, we'll definitely try to get most of the boys to get out there just because they support us.
Well, for someone who's listening that might be, say, a senior in high school who wants to continue both their academic and soccer careers, Keene State's definitely a great place to go. So, in your experience, what is the work-life sports balance for a D3 athlete?
Yeah, so I take 4 classes now. All my classes meet once a week. For a film class being 3.5 hours, it's kind of a long day, honestly.
Yeah, those are crazy hours.
Like the 10 to 1:30 that I'm in, it's kind of difficult just because it's not an 8 a.m., which is nice, so I get to sleep in a little bit. But yeah, 1:30, I get out, go to get some food and get to take a nap, and then we have practice at 4 to 6, and then the rest of the night pretty much is just to do homework. So, I wouldn't say there's a lot of stress about not being able to get my homework done, but it's kind of just time management skills and everything. And yeah, if you want to be a college athlete, for sure think about what academic thing you want to be, because I had no idea what I want to do to my junior year, and then I take a television production class, and then I found what I wanted to be for my senior year. And now looking to find any film schools that look interesting with soccer, and yeah, now I'm here.
We'll touch a little more on that. Film major, you've been enjoying the TV production classes. What is the future looking like for Reed Rampinelli going forward?
So I've been in contact with a few television production companies that do sports around my local area. So I've been in contact with them, waiting for a response back, try to get like an internship or even a job opportunity during the summer coming up. So yeah, if I can do that, that'd be something that I enjoy, and I feel like if I do that for my job for the rest of my life, it's like I'd be really happy doing it every day.
And, shout out to Keene State for getting that started. Do you return home for the summers?
Yeah, so me and my dad will take my car that I have up here, and we'll drive the 19, 20, 21-hour drive that we have.
Oh, fun stuff.
We'll, split it up into a few even days. Like, one time we ended up going to New York. I drove to New York City to meet up with him, and I picked him up at the airport, and then we drove directly to Yankee Stadium from the airport to catch the Yankees, a Yankees-Red Sox game, which was actually a great game to go to.
There you go.
I actually loved it. And then, either after New York, between Washington, D.C. and Virginia, another 5-6 hour drive. Try to split it up between 6-7 hours a day, so it's not like we're killing ourselves doing 12 hours one day and then we have 10 the next. It's like, no, we'll do 3 7-hour days, have a chill day, still do stuff that we want to do. My freshman year, we went to Washington, D.C., which was a 10-hour drive, 8-hour drive, something like that. But I've never been, so that was my first time. So it's definitely worth it. A lot of good memories have been made.
The reason I asked if you go home is because you mentioned interest in local broadcasts, maybe getting an internship or something. The Keene Swamp Bats usually have pretty good offerings in the summer, so that came to mind.
Yeah, no, definitely looked into that before. I know Abe has brought that up to me, trying to do that, but miss my friends. Don't really go home much during the school year unless it's something my birthday or something. Just kind of what I just did last week. But yeah, no, I've been looking to do some internships at local companies around my house. So yeah.
Well, I've got one last question. It's the Roback question. RHOBACK, 20% off using promo code. I'm just kidding. I don't actually have a sponsorship with Roback, but I do have one last question here.
Yeah.
Reed, what are your expectations for the soccer team in 2024?
I really, really do think we can win it all. All the guys believe it. We were so close, making the semifinal. My first time making a semifinal in the LEC championship game. So the LEC semifinal, I really do think we can make it to the final and win it. Just because I feel like if we make it there, it's we all know we're one of the top teams in the conference, so we know we can do it. And yeah, just staying focused all summer, really grinding, playing summer soccer, and really staying focused on it and coming in fit, doing all of our fitness tests well, believing in what coach believes in us. That's why we're all here. So I think we can definitely win it for sure.
Boys got that grit.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, I want that to happen so badly. For the last few years, we've done women's soccer, calling their games. I would love the opportunity to call you in a championship game. That'd be so fun.
Yeah, it would be.
Is there anything else you'd like to plug or add?
Yeah, so we've been working on getting a show together that we've finally been recorded, 2 episodes now?
2 episodes.
We've had 2 episodes. Yeah, called Hootie's Hot Seat. We're waiting for where we're going to end up posting it, but we have 2 episodes recorded now. Steph Ola and the esports coach that we're waiting to release, and I think it went really well. Me and JJ LeBlanc, who does the basketball games that everyone's been listening to.
Shout out to JJ. He was episode 2 of the show, so I've now had you and JJ.
Yeah, no, great guy to be around. Love JJ.
I help produce this show with Jill Diamond. Reed and JJ host. It's a real fun time. It's a hoot, if you will.
Yeah, no, yeah, we glad we ended up getting the approval to do it. It's been a great time. 2 episodes, and yeah, waiting for our next person to be on, and Yeah, once we get a place to release them, we'll definitely release them for sure.
Yeah, once we have the platform, I'll make sure to plug that on these episodes going forward. Once again, Reed, thanks for being here, and go Owls.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Looking ahead for the Owls, baseball has a doubleheader tomorrow against Clark. The softball team plays multiple games over the weekend down in Myrtle Beach. Men's lacrosse has their first LEC matchup tomorrow against EastCon. And on Wednesday, the women's lacrosse team plays Framingham State. That does it for this week's Owls Overtime. I'll be taking a week off for spring break, but be sure to catch up on any episodes you missed and give the Owls Overtime Instagram a follow. See you guys soon.